crate came in on the Tuesday ore shuttle, listed on the manifest as precision calibration equipment. I noticed it because it was the wrong weight. I have been working the cargo bays of Harkin platform for 22 years, and I know what calibration equipment weighs. That crate did not weigh what the manifest said it weighed. I did not flag it. I signed the intake form, initialed the weight discrepancy column with the code that means instrument error. And I pushed the crate to Bay 9 myself. I do not know exactly why I did that. I have thought about it since, and the honest answer is that I have been doing this job long enough to recognize when something is wrong in a way that paperwork cannot fix. Bay 9 is the farthest holding bay from the platform's transit office. It sits at the end of a service corridor that smells like coolant and rust, and the overhead light has been flickering for 3 years. Because the platform's maintenance budget stopped covering anything that far out. I am the only person who goes there. It is my bay. I set the crate on the deck, cut the security seal, and opened it. She was curled in the back corner, behind a layer of insulation foam, knees drawn to her chest, 4 fingered hands folded against her face, silver skin, the pale, dull kind that comes from weeks without sun, eyes enormous and black from edge to edge, the way Vareth eyes go when they are conserving their body's light. She was breathing in the shallow, careful rhythm of something that has learned not to make noise. She looked at me and did not move. I did not move either for a moment. Then I sat down on the deck with my back against the crate, so I was lower than she was, and I said nothing. I had a ration bar in my jacket pocket from the morning. I set it on the deck between us and waited. It took 11 minutes. I know because I watched the clock on my wrist unit. Then, a 4-fingered hand reached out very slowly and took it. I do not have children. I have a bunk, a toolkit, and a platform that needs more maintenance than the company will pay for, which is why I am always out here alone in the far bays doing work that no one authorized and no one notices. I did not enter her on any log. Her food. Food. Not ration bars. I have a small heating unit in my quarters, and I know which transit kitchen staff will look the other way for a favor owed. I brought a blanket from my bunk, and when she was cold, I showed her the heating vent behind Bay 9's secondary bulkhead, where the warmth from the ore processors bleeds through the wall. I learned that she understood some trade tongue. Not much, enough. I learned that she was the only one left from her convoy. I did not ask her to tell me more than that, because she did not need to say it, and I did not need to hear it. I called her 7. She had held up 4 fingers when I asked her age, and she corrected me when I held up 4 in return, and after some negotiation we arrived at 7. It was probably not accurate. It was close enough. She slept in Bay 9. I rigged a pallet from equipment foam and an old thermal cover. She did not make noise at night. How practiced her silence was, how deeply she had learned it. A child that size should not know quiet that well. The guild shuttle docked on a Thursday, 10 days after she arrived. I saw the registry code when it pinged the platform's approach beacon, and I knew what it was. Guild's charter vessels have a specific transponder cadence, a 3-beat rhythm that they have used for 40 years because they have never needed to hide what they are. They came in slow and easy, the way something comes in when it does not expect a fight. 3 of them. Watched them clear the airlock from the secondary camera feed in my maintenance terminal. 2 large, 1 medium. All in Guild-issue equipment vests with reclamation stamps on the shoulder. The medium one carried a data pad. He would be the warrant officer. I went to Bay 9 first. She was awake when I came in. She could tell from the way I walked, I think. Children learn to read adults that way, when they have to. I told her to go to the space behind the secondary bulkhead, where the heating vent is. I had shown her the latch in the first week, and told her it was hers. Told her she would know when to use it. She looked at me for a moment with those black eyes, and then she went. The latch clicked shut. Then I went to meet the guildmen. The warrant officer's name was Dresch. He had a flat professional manner and a warrant that was technically valid under 3 separate transit law frameworks. And he explained all of this to me in the transit corridor, while his 2 associates stood behind him, with their hands loose at their sides. He said they were looking for Vareth contraband. He used that word, contraband. I said I hadn't seen anything like that. He said their tracking data indicated the item had been offloaded at this platform. I said, Tracking data on this platform was notoriously unreliable, which is true, and that I'd be happy to walk him through the intake logs, which I did. The intake logs showed calibration equipment. The weight discrepancy column showed instrument error. I had initialed it myself. Dresch looked at me for a long time. Then he said they would need to conduct a physical inspection of all holding bays. I said, of course, and I started with Bay 1. Arkin platform has 23 holding bays, 4 primary service corridors, 2 secondary service corridors, a maintenance subgrid, an ore processing deck, and a transit office. I know every meter of it. I have crawled every duct, shimmed every bulkhead joint, replaced every seal on the primary coolant lines twice. I know which corridor lights can be tripped from the maintenance panel. Doors have a 2-second lag on the lock relay, which sections of decking ring hollow and which ring solid. I took them through the bays in the wrong order. Not obviously wrong. Wrong in the way that only makes sense if you know the platform's layout, which they did not. Bay 4 before Bay 3, Bay 11 before Bay 10. It added time in ways that were hard to measure and impossible to object to. At Bay 7, one of the large men said they had been walking for an hour. I said the platform was big. At Bay 15, Dresch stopped me. He said they knew the item was here. He said the warrant covered physical search and retrieval. He did in the flat tone of a man who is telling you the negotiation is over. I looked at him. I thought about 7 behind the bulkhead in Bay 9. Quiet the way she had learned to be quiet. And I thought about the convoy she had been on. And I thought about the word Con-Aband. And I felt something in my chest that I do not have a good name for. It was not anger exactly. It was more like a door closing, I said. The warrant covers a physical search. It does not cover my maintenance systems. Then I pulled up my wrist unit, and I tripped the coolant pressure valve on surface line C. The alarm that followed was very loud. It was also entirely legitimate. I had been meaning to do a controlled pressure test on line C for 6 weeks. And the readout I got was exactly what I expected, which was a cascade notification to every door lock relay on the secondary service corridor. All of them defaulted to sealed as per safety protocol. That is what they are designed to do. The large man nearest the corridor door was on the wrong side of it when it sealed. His associates were not. I will not go into detail about the next 30 minutes. I will say that a platform like Harkin has a great many maintenance systems, and I understand all of them, and I had 22 years to learn the difference between the systems that can hurt a man and the systems that cannot. I used the ones that could. The guild shuttle left 4 hours after it arrived. It left with 2 men instead of 3. The one who stayed was in the platform's small medical bay with a fractured collarbone and a pressure burn across his right forearm. And when the transit authority came 3 days later, I showed them my maintenance log, recorded a coolant line inspection with associated safety system activation and 1 civilian injury due to failure to observe posted warning signage. The transit authority filed it as an industrial incident. I paid a fine for insufficient warning notices. 7 watched all of this from the door of Bay 9. After I opened it, her black eyes moving from the medical bay to me and back. I told her it was over. She looked at me for a moment. Then she held out her hand. 4 fingers, the small pale ones, and I took it. We went back to Bay 9. I had extra rations from the week, and she was hungry. And the heating vent was warm behind the bulkhead where nobody ever went. I sat with my back against the crate, and she sat beside me and we ate, and neither of us said anything, because nothing needed to be said. I have been on this platform for 22 years. I know every meter of it. It is big enough for 2.